All right, all right, all right. It is another Thursday here with Lessons with Ricardo. I appreciate everyone jumping on today, and we are going to start with a recap. Yes, got to make sure we cover what we did last time. And actually, now that I think about it, give me one moment. I'm going to pull up a little bit of something here. Check it out. I think I already have my screen up, actually. How's it going out there, everyone? How's everyone doing? I'm trying to say that I don't know where you're located, but over here, kind of a rainy last 2 days. A little cloudy, but it's all right. I like it. I like it. That means spring is around the corner. Some beautiful flowers are coming, and we're gonna be all right. It's gonna be a good time. Unless you have allergies. Unless you have allergies, then you're gonna hate it. All right, so check it out. I got up here my blog actually. So I know some of you all leverage the blog. You use the blogs when we miss a session or two. So basically, with this one, because of the blogs, I've been working double time almost. I do the sessions and then I go back and do the blog afterwards. And with this one in particular, I was a little behind, but hey, y'all, I caught up for everyone here. So these are the most recent postings I did. I hope you have fun going through these. I enjoyed making them. And in fact, my brother CJ told me that, Ricardo, you're outdated, man. You're not doing it right. So there's actually this one up here, the Powershell Starter. I walk you through how to use the ISE. Well, actually, how to open the ISE and the benefits of it for PowerShell, and we'll recap that in a moment. But ISE is the IDE, so the Integrated Development Environment for PowerShell. And it comes Windows, right? It's been on Windows. PowerShell has been on Windows since XP, I believe. So it's been there for a while. ISC is no longer supported, and I did look it up. They do recommend to run actual code, VS Code, Visual Studio Code. So in fact, what we're going to do today, before we jump into doing some scripting in PowerShell, I know everyone's excited about that. We're actually going to install VS Code. Now, me personally, I've been using VS Code for a while as a notebook, taking notes. I know it's a shame. I just personally, I've come to like any notepad-like object. If you're familiar with Notepad plus plus, um, I learned on that, and those type of text editors. That's what I meant to say. Those type of text editors, I love them because they keep anything you put in it, whether you save or not, until you actually clear them out. You don't have to save the notes right away, so you can always pull it back up. It's cached, and you can view them later. So I've actually been using VS Code for like a high-end text editor, Notepad. But it is way more than that. Way more than that. If it's in the realm, it's actually an IDE, but it's in the realm of if you use Notepad plus plus, if you use Atom, ATOM, all those VS Visual Studio Code, they're all the same. They're all the same, but it's really good. So it's good to learn how to get those set up. So actually, we're going to do that now. We're going to go ahead and jump into how to get VS Code on the machine. So uh, last time we discussed PowerShell, and I walked you through how to pull up PowerShell, and we walked through the ISE, which you see right here. All right, you see it right here as well. These are they're going to be in the system. I believe it's in Windows 11 as well, but like I said, I have to double check that. I know it's in Windows 10, obviously. That's what we're using now. But you want to get away from using this because eventually it is no longer supported now, and eventually it will be moved out of the system. So uh, let's say we did this last time. The PowerShell ISE was useful because it had auto completion, auto suggestion when you started typing something in. So that being said, I want to show you how to use VS Code. All right, let's jump into this. Now, today, the script that we're going to work on is actually one I think is going to be very useful. And in fact, let me make sure I let everyone know the benefit of understanding PowerShell and using PowerShell is that it will allow you to better manage your system um, in a very quick and organized format. So basically, it allows you to access anything locally. It also allows you to do remote features as well. And give me one moment. I apologize. The background. Give me 1 second. All right. So let's go ahead and get going. Okay. So, um, but yeah. So that's PowerShell. So, like I said, PowerShell was created to as an object-oriented language, and it allows for you to manage your entire system using just the command line interface. So I think it's pretty cool. All right, so one thing is, let's go and do this, VS Code. And as you see here, I've already downloaded once before. So all you want to type in is VS Code, and then I'm going to do download. So everyone can try this out. It's going to send you over to code.visualstudio.com, and we're just going to click on this. And in fact, like one of my followers who's pretty much on it every week with us, they recommended I always take this link and I drop it into my chat. So let's go and do that real quick. Bam. All right. So we got that now in the chat for everyone to click on, and let's go and get started. So it has. So if I didn't mention before, VS Code is an IDE, and I actually developed it for any platform, which I love. I run it on my Linux box, which I can actually show you. It's pretty cool. I have it on Linux. We're going to install it on Windows now, and it even runs for Mac OS. So all our Mac users out there, you can use this program, and I like it because once you get suited with it, once you actually learn the program, you can install it on any of your platforms. So you can use it, and it's very fluid at that point, right? So you don't have to select any special buttons down here. Just go to the main button. That'll give you the basic install information, basic install link. And like I said, I already have it installed once. We're going to download it. It's going to be really quick. Now, Visual Studio Code, as I said, it is a IDE and it's actually modular, and it has extensions. It could be uh, the amount of information that I'm sorry, the number of coding languages or functionalities with it can be expanded with extensions, and we're actually going to use that today to install the extension for PowerShell once we install it. And it's important we do that because the PowerShell extension is actually going to allow you to do the auto suggestion, which is what I loved about the ISC. If you don't have auto suggestion, you might as well just be using PowerShell directly. Partly, right? I know some people probably heard them like, no, no. So the also another benefit of IDE is you don't have to do one-liners. Um, what's a one-liner? Okay, so let me say one-liner would be something like you take a for statement or a loop that we did last time, and you put everything on one line, which we actually did last time. But you can also do a more complicated step process, such as doing a for loop and then piping that into or adding additional steps after that. And so this is not working code. I'm just typing in. So like for um, I think we declare our variable for I or for you. I just do for you, and then semicolon while u is less than 5, and then we gotta do equals, right? So we do u 0, and then the how do we iterate it is the next thing, right? So how do we iterate it? Plus plus was just equaling 1. You just add 1 to each time. And then I think we do the curly brace to say print it out, right? I'm just testing this out, so this should work. And actually, no. So I missed something. Give me 1 second. So for each time, for equal to 0, it was less than 5. Oh, sorry, greater. That's why I put I put greater than. Come on, alligator, right? That's how you learn it, right? The alligator eats the bigger number. So I should have put it this way. Let's see what happens. See if that works. And of course, let me see the. I don't think it's semicolons, are they? Let me see. Where's my Firefox? Let's see. PowerShell for loop. Um, actually, I'm thinking I'm gonna go over here. Yeah, it is that. So the iterator value statement repeat to code. I feel like I messed up the. Oh, I forgot we don't do sign. It's LT less than y'all. Come on. All right. Ricardo, come on. You just did this last week. So less than. Let's see if that works. There we go. Okay, cool. So it did work that time, right? So let's say we do that, and then a one-liner will be all of that, and then let's say I think sort is the option. And how do we use sort? Let's see. Um, Pipe in sort. Well, I guess it wouldn't work unless we do it into a list. Um, Statement. Maybe we could just do like a write. Okay, write the host. No, don't worry about that. Anyway, I was trying to find out. So this probably shows it even better anyway. So the for loop, what I was saying, one liner is the opposite of what we're doing right here. So one liner is what we just did here, is the one liner, and I will go ahead and clear this out. So this is a one liner compared to something structured like this. Obviously, this is not on one line. This is something you will enter into an IDE, which is the reason I was bringing this up in the first place is that we're going to install the Visual Studio because with that, you're allowed to actually do your script in kind of like a block format versus a one-liner, which you see here, everything on one line. Okay. And I believe it makes it look a little easier to most people's eyes when we have it in a block format. Most people are used to seeing it like blocky like this. All right. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and finish what we started, which is installing Visual Code Studio. So we did download it. Let's go and jump into installation. We're going to go to downloads. All right, like I said, I already have it on here. Exact same file size, it doesn't matter. I'll go with the newest one because I did it with you, and you all are special to me. So wait for this to load up. It's going to give you this nice agreement. It is under the MIT license agreement, which I believe is a one of the ones that are um, open sourced, which is makes sense because, like I said, you can build modules for this. Um, let's see. All right. So we're going to install the regular program folder. Leave it like that. I'm not changing anything. We can create a desktop desktop ice icon. I really want ice cream, I guess, because I keep trying to say ice for some reason. Um, and then yeah, so let's go ahead next, and then the install button. Got you. All right, so it's loading up now. All right, so while this is going, so like I said, there are other platforms you can use since I'm sorry, other IDEs you can use. You don't have to use Vizio's code. You can, like I said, there are other ones such as Atom, which is a popular one. I think is made by the people who, or it was like a GitHub project at one time, and I think that's what GitHub packages and stuff like this. This is another one I think that supports PowerShell. Let me see. Let's see. It looks like they support PowerShell as well. So it's up to you which one you want to use. But Microsoft obviously supports this one. It's one of their products. So it's always best to go with the product supported by the operating system that you're on, right? Only makes sense. Oh, man. All right. It's coming up now. And when did you know it? I uninstalled, but I did not clear everything out. So what you'll see here is I have installed the PowerShell already, which is why you have the format on the screen the way you see it now. Um, let's see if I actually, how do I, because I want to start fresh for you. I want to start fresh, okay? So let's go do uninstall. Yep. Uh, let's see. Let's don't save that. Okay, cool. So we have no installed extensions at all. So we're a fresh slate, clean slate, okay? So just like you're loading up yours, you're going to see the same way. Actually, yours probably be in the Explorer view. And what I'll have to do is create, first of all, before we do anything else, we can go into extensions where I just was to do PowerShell. We're going to just type in PowerShell and let it do an auto search. And you can pick from a number of these. I have not used them all. Um, I really try to go with the largest download number. So this is 5.3 million downloads with a 3.5 star. Looks like you also have the PowerShell preview. If you're going to preview, so develop PowerShell modules. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. So let's go ahead and do the first one, PowerShell. Keep it simple, right? So we're going to install PowerShell, and it doesn't take very long at all. It should be done now. Um, and so this took me a while to actually understand how to get into how to get PowerShell to actually show up just like the ISC. So I'll remind you what ISC looks like. So it's going to pull it up real quick because right now we're looking at is just the coding area in VS Code, the terminal. Well, actually, more like the coding pad up here, right? That's kind of what we're looking at here. Now, this can be structured the exact same way. So to remind you, the layout currently is that you have the IDE notepad area where the text editor area where you type everything in, and below you have what they call the terminal. That's what we're looking at there. And to the right, I can open up the command options that are available for PowerShell. I'm not going to use that though, but you can do it if you're in ISC and it's still available. Now, like I said, since it's not currently supported, well, not going to be supported any longer, then let's go and learn how to do the VS Code. So I have a current file open. And what came to my mind is I noticed that whenever you start an ISE, it always gives you a untitled 1.ps1. PS1 is the extension for PowerShell script. Okay. So basically what that tells me is that, hey, why don't I try this? Right now, if I type anything like git, PowerShell is already installed. We could double check now. Um, if I go to clear the search results, we have it installed, okay? So in the ISC, if I do git command, by now it would have auto-completed. I hit tab and look, it did nothing, okay? That threw me off at first. So what did I do? I said, hey, let's check this out. Maybe to test to make sure everything is going to run PowerShell the way I think it will. I pulled up the terminal by just going up here to terminal and then clicking and hitting new, and then brought this up, and then I want to test this out. And there you go. So that tells me that terminal is installed and is working just fine. But we need to figure out how to get it to do auto completion. This is an IDE. It's not useful to me unless it's going to help me out and remind me what options I have. So the way I did this is select the language to get started, and then we'll go down here to PowerShell. Bam. Okay. Now you have this option. You also have the option of just creating a new file and saving the file, right? So if we do this and save, we can always select the desktop or wherever you want to save it. I love doing tests for it. It's just I'm not very creative at times, so we just do test. Hey, we'll just go from there. So text 45. Now I don't want to do plain text, right? We're doing a PowerShell, so we're going to drop down on Save As Type. Look for PowerShell. We're going to click it. It's going to give us the PS1 extension on the very end. Okay. Now look at this. We have the PS1. It has a little logo up here saying that this is a PowerShell script. They also have the same logo up here as well. So now both of these are going to run just like as though we are in ISE. So ISE, like I said, you have the get. So you do the dash, you do H, it gives you all the um, auto suggestions it thinks you're trying to go for. So now let's see if our Visual Code works the same way. Get dash H. There we go. Now you have a working IDE that's going to help you do auto completion, auto suggestions for doing your code. So I think now we are ready to jump into our script for today. Now, I chose the script for today because it has one, it gets you familiar with a very, very useful commandlet in PowerShell, which is the get. Um, is get C. Let's pull it up right here. Get CIM instance, which stands for I think um, common inter. Actually, let's just Google it, right? I don't want to guess at it. CIM instance. Well, I think it comes up better this way versus WMI. Yeah, common information model is what the CIM is versus an older technology, older way of managing systems, which is the Windows Management Instrumentation, right? So this script is going to get you familiar with this command, or the CIM instance command, which is really powerful, especially when comes to remoting into other machines. Now, this particular script that we're going to go through today, which is actually in the blog posting as well that I've created for that I'll put up tonight. This is walking you through how to find a Windows service that is configured to run as a different user. Why do you think that's important, right? If you're looking to get into administration over machines, or you're working in a office where maybe you might be doing auto work like I used to do as well, you're interested in, how what are the risks with a machine when you start thinking about it that way? And the risk is you could have a service. Remember, services run in the background, right? You don't really pay attention to services on as a regular user, so it could be doing all kind of things. And as a administrator, to make sure you're as secure as possible and you're keeping security in the forefront, every once in a while you may want to have a script that runs and say, hey, tell me all the services that I'm not looking at that are running in the background. Tell me all those services that are not running as users I would expect them to be running as, or tell anything that is not a system known user, right? So this is a really powerful script to actually get to know, and I'm really glad the guy put this up. And as you can tell, this was just posted not too long ago, and I've enjoyed reading through his entire blog so far. So definitely, if you get a chance, go to my blog or just type this in directly. Like I said, I'll drop it in there. I love it. So, Megan, I apologize. Uh, I just noticed your chat there. Um, so I see what you're saying. So basically, Megan, you were saying that yours isn't doing auto completion and you saved it as PowerShell. All right. So if that's the case, Megan, drop me, let me know if you already caught up and you're good now on whatever it is you thought may have been a problem. But first steps first, right? We have the PowerShell. I'm sorry, first of all, we have the Visual Code installed. And then we also have to make sure our extension PowerShell is installed. And also, what I would do if I were you, let me know, did you already go into the terminal and run a quick command to make sure PowerShell is there? Because if you don't have it installed, and just to let you know, when this is lit, when this is white and not grayed out, you can click it and it'll clear out your search results, okay, to see what is actually installed, Megan. So yeah, if you do that, open up a terminal, type in a quick command like get help. All right, so you tested the terminal, and when you go up here and you create a new file, uh, all right, cool, 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 cool. It works now. All right, good. What I say, because there's definitely different ways of doing it. I showed you the two I do. I either start and create a file and save it as a PowerShell, or I just select the language from here, which I think is a really cool add-in. When I first started using code, they didn't have this bar up here, okay? And this I actually love. I just noticed it not too long ago. So, all right, cool. Now, like I said, this one is going to allow us to do block format versus the one-liners down here. You said no, the terminal works. Do you have this? Do you have the icon for PowerShell on the top part of your if you and just remind you, if you feel comfortable, you can always just tell me that you want to go ahead and do the team viewer. We can pull you up. Just like I said, make sure your background, make sure your screen is prepared and pulled up. I won't go outside of Visual Code. I don't need to get it working for you. Okay, just blow it fully up. Share your screen if you want to, and I'll walk you through and try to get that fixed for you. But either way, check to make sure the PowerShell logo is there. And then once you do that, you have to do get or set, remember, verb noun. So one of the expected verbs has to be first. I don't think it's case sensitive. I'm pretty sure it's not. Okay. And when you do the dash and the next letter you do typically will start to do auto suggestion. Mine is doing it earlier. And I think because I've already started using it, it's already um, it's already ready to do commands with PowerShell. But either way, sometimes it doesn't kick off until you do your dash and then the next letter that follows. But if that's not working, we're going to take a one off for you, Megan. Okay, we're going to do a one off. But even if it doesn't work, just follow along, right? The screen will be up here. You can see what I'm typing, and you can go from there. All right. And I think I was typing. Yeah, I did. Okay, so I dropped the link for the script we're going to just walk through together. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out, oh, what kind of script would be simple but also meaningful. And I ended up just Googling and I came across this one. I was like, man, this hits everything. It hits the uh, the different skills. What's the word I'm looking for? The different scripting techniques that you use when you're in a command line, such as, or just command line interfacing, where you have to pass one argument, the output of one argument into the next command, which we call piping. You pipe it from one. Good night, son. You pipe it from one command into another command. So we're going to go through that as well in here. We also start to practice how to filter our information, how to structure our information. And like I said, most of all, this is security in mind. The security in mind means that the purpose of this script is security in nature. Seeing, hey, do we have anything that is just not working the way it should or being executed by an incorrect person? Okay, and I got you a text, Megan. I'm looking at the image. Um, yeah, I see what you're talking about. That may just be a refresh issue, but we'll have to Google it, okay? So I got it. Hello, hello. All right. We got a new person jumping on here. Uh, Danisha? Danisha? I think that's how you, Danisha? I apologize if I messed it up, but welcome. I appreciate it. All right. So that being said, and Megan, you had to follow along until we figure out how to fix that for you. Okay. But I'm glad you at least got to this point. You know, at least you got it installed. You ran your PowerShell. You got some output, and you'll be able to do everything we're doing. You just got to do the long way. Okay. Just for now. We'll figure out something a little later. All right, so let me close. Now that we have a working IDE, let's go and close ISE. We don't need it anymore. And I'm gonna pull up my Firefox so we walk through this. So we talked about why we're doing this. So the guy who wrote this article actually did mention that it was something that was driven by an actual question at his work his manager came to him about. And I love the way he mentioned that, oh, you know, as you learn technology, you start to think, oh, that's easy. I know technology can do anything we want it to do. And the guy said his first response was before the manager even finished his question, he was like, I'm gonna do a PowerShell script for that. And just like most of us who have done scripting before or coding before, you get into it, you're like, oh, this is going to work this way. I've done it this way. And then you start to go through and you start to realize, oh, this isn't really happening the way I thought it was going to happen. Or you start realizing there's some limitations behind this. And the guy does a great job in this blog, and that's why I'm using it. He does a great job explaining the limitations of his original thought behind how to approach it, and also what the requirements would end up being. Okay. Uh, oh, Mary, I'm sorry to hear that. I see you say your laptop sounds like it's crapped out. Uh, oh, man, I'm sorry. So you can't hear. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna try my best. Just stay with me. If you got to reboot, Mary. You won't miss too much. And like you already know, we'll go ahead and post this afterwards as well. So I want to make sure you get the most out of it. Just do whatever's best for you. So you keep it up, okay? All right. Just responding in the chat. All right. So, oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, Megan. See, that's why I love having the groups in here. Yeah, tune in on your phone if you have to. Like, jump on the phone. Take the link out your email that I know you get. Jump on my stream in the phone. Listen to audio there. You can follow on your computer. Megan, thank you so much. Great suggestion. Okay, great suggestion. All right, so that being said, we now know why we picked this one, and we're going to go and jump into it. So, first of all, we talked about why services are important. We talked about kind of the premise behind why I selected this one as our first script. It's going to seem like a lot, but we're going to walk through it piece by piece. And now that we have a working IDE that's going to be with us for the foreseeable future, and we'll have all the support we may need until 2 months from now when they decide to change it. But until then, let's go ahead and enjoy what we do have, right? So the first thing we're going to do is, hey, let's do what it stated here. Let's find out how do we even list out our services, right? On our very first walkthrough of Windows, I showed you how to bring up services through the GUI. Wasn't that hard? You just type in services here, and it came right up, right? But hey, we're beyond doing GUI. GUI takes a while to load, depending on the system, and then you got to go through all this and scan and you got to scroll. And I don't know about you, but my wheel on my mouse doesn't even work. It hasn't worked in years. Please don't beat me up for that. I just been too lazy to buy a new mouse. I like the way it feels. I want to just stick with this one. But I got to drag and drop, and now, GUIs can actually be a little more cumbersome than we believe them to be. Okay, just depending on who you are. So what we're going to first do is let's go ahead and do get services. Now, I want to explore, right? Now, what you saw here is that the gentleman had a more here. Not 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 backslash, right? I want to do pipe. Okay, they had a more. Okay, I don't want to run that yet. Let's see what happens without that. So you ask yourself, if I'm in the ID area, the notepad area, how do I run it down here in the bottom? Well, you have two options. We have a few options. You could go over to the right. We have the play button, hit run. You can run, let's do run here. You also just, if you go to run up here, it'll show you the shortcut, I mean the quick key, which is F5. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna hit now. I'm gonna select right here, hit F5, and then it'll run down here. Now, you notice it's putting out all of these services in the bottom of my screen. So now let's figure out, why did the gentleman write with the more? Let's see what happens if we do that. And I did not mean to do that. I just want to do more. Okay, cool. And then do F5. Let's see what happens now. Wow. So if you paid attention immediately, as I clicked it and I ran the part we have up here, it didn't run through the entire list. Look what it does. It gives you this option at the very bottom that says more. And this is exactly like it runs in a Unix-based system like Linux as well. Just hit any key, enter, and you literally just do it until you get to where you want to stop. To get out of this in Unix or Linux is Q, so I'm gonna try Q. Q works. So Q on the keyboard for quit will stop you wherever you are, and you'll see, and it'll come back out to your prompt. So just make sure you do that if you want to stop at any point. So yeah. Now, what I like about the output that you have here is that it gives you which ones are stopped and which ones are running. Okay. Now this is going to be really important because I haven't done it yet, but there's going to be a service we're going to select hopefully soon, just to make sure I guess this exercise gives some good output. Um, as I stated, the exercise is going to look at which services are running under different users. So to make sure this works the way I want it to, I'm thinking that we're going to start a service as well, but we'll get to that in a moment. All right, so the first thing we did is we found all the services. All right, we know that get service will put out every service running or not. Then we pipe it. So this right here is called a pipe. That key is normally located above your enter key. So the key on your keyboard called enter, look right, hit shift, and the key above enter will put a pipe. It's actually not solid, it's two separate lines right above each other on your keyboard. And if you do a pipe, what that says is the output from the command to the left will be used with the command to the right. Okay, so you're piping get service into the more command. So it's a beautiful way to connect multiple commands together. So you can do as many pipes as you want to, and we'll get into that. This script actually ends up with, I think, 2 or 3 pipes. And all it does is mean if we did a second pipe over here, I can't think of anything to put after this, but let's say I did another more. You wouldn't do this normally. I'm just putting it in here, right? So all I would say is, hey, run this, pipe it, or put the output, standard output into the next command, run that, and then take the standard output and put it into the next command as well. So you can do as many pipes as make sense. Okay. And remember, everything in PowerShell is an object. That means you might pipe it and then you might want to do something with a particular attribute of that object in the next command versus the entire object. All right, cool. So meaning autocomplete works now. It had to download an update. Okay, I appreciate Megan. Thank you for letting the squad know exactly how you fixed it. So that's awesome. All right, so you just had to update your Visual Code Studio. Got you. Visual Studio Code. All right. So now we know what get service does. We know what more does. We know what the pipe is. Really important to pay attention to that. Let's go and get into the next step here. So the gentleman, he goes and tells the background story. Like I said, this is what I already told you. He shows the get service. Now, actually, let me go ahead and pull it up as well, right? So the reason I want to pull this up is because I want to remind you how to read this output. So we do help and then get service. Oh, I hit enter instead of F5. Let's hit F5. All right. One thing I want to remind you of is that whenever you see this output and you see these square brackets, that's actually asking for an array. Okay, it's actually asking for a list. I mean, so it's just multiple items. So you go in this case, it's asked for a computer name, and a computer name you could have one computer name up to as many as you can fit in there. And that's what this is saying it supports. So if you do get service, you can give it a computer name, which also means it does not need to be this computer, right? If you have another computer up and running, which in fact, let's see if I can do that, right? We know this on the same network. We've run Windows 11 before. Now this part, if you have a VM at home, you can obviously, I'm gonna let it load. It's not gonna be on screen the whole time, but you can obviously do this as well. Pull up more than one computer with your virtualization software you're running, whatever manager you chose to use. But anyway, so back to the point. It's a list. It's a computer name as a list, which means it does not have to be the local computer that you're currently on. It could be a different computer. And then you can go down here, display name, and all this other stuff. And that's exactly what he was telling you, right? In his article. And they have these other suggested services you may be interested in. All right. So that being said, he's just giving output of it, and he talks about the different attributes that are available um, within a command, within the command as an object, right? I just heard some, oh, the Windows 11 loaded. That's what it was. I'm like, what is that ding in my ear? So it actually booted up and it does this little, I think I mentioned last night, it does like a little ding and it just threw me off for a second. All right, so um, what else he goes on to talk about is the fact that, hey, we also have this commandlet called get member. Now, get member for me, when I originally read it, I thought, hey, it's going to look at what members are in a group. Actually, no. It treats the get member actually retrieves the different attributes or different returns that you can have from each commandlet that you give it. Okay. So in this case, what you're looking at here in the preview, and we're running it ourselves as well, is it saying, hey, this is a service name, layman server, and then get member. Get member is going to say, out of this service, what can we pull back? We have a name. I'm sorry. Yeah, out of service, out of any service, what can we pull back? Name, close, continue, equals. The start stop is something we can work with. These are all attributes we can either retrieve or modify or whatever it may be. So that's what get member does. It says these are all the things you can work with based on the commandlet that you used. Now, of course, we piped it in there. So we had the standard output from the get service command focused on this one display name for the service. And if you don't provide a computer name, it does local. That's what you learn here. And then we piped it into the next command of get member. Okay. All right. So let's go and jump back over and do that real quick. Bam. Okay. So we got get service. And in fact, we have an output here. Let's pick one for ourselves. We don't have to do the same one he did, right? Um, running, right? Distributed link tracking client, web account manager. Let's see token broker. Let's see how this works. So we're going to take token broker. We're going to copy it. I'm going to right click. I'm going to do get service. And then I'm going to paste it in. So just regular control V. And then I'm going to hit pipe and get member. Bam. All right, F5, not enter. I said F5. And let's actually have it at the bottom of the screen when I do it. Oh, I got to stop that running. Okay, it was still on the more at the bottom part. All right, now I could do F5. All right, it passes it in, and now it runs. Bam! Look at that. So, as we just saw, exact same output, nothing different. Now, this is where I'm gonna go back to what his problem was when he said, I originally thought I had an idea and realized that I don't know how to get to this real solution, right? He jumped ahead of himself, saying, I know I can do this with a command, with a commandlet. I can do this with a commandlet. And then he realized, oh, the commandlet doesn't tell us who's logged in. So what we just did is we took the first steps he did as well. We got the service called token broker and we said, okay, token broker, I want you to tell me who you're logged in as. Then we realize when we do get member that, oh, logged in as or run as or any kind of forming of that or something that falls in line with that thought process isn't available. That's not an output that we can pull, right? We can pull the service name, we can pull the service handle, the machine name. We can request all of that information back, but we cannot request who it was logged in as. Important part to pick up on. All right, so now we know where the problem lies. So now we have to ask ourselves, how do we find, how do we actually go about finding the login as, right? Or who's logged in. And I got a little sidetracked because I'm trying to think about, let's see what happens when we do a Windows 11. My Windows 11 is up and running now. So I'm going to log into that just to get the computer name. And I feel like I can get the computer name from somewhere else. What is this? That's the network. Okay, accessibility. Yeah, I'll just log in. So let's just go and log in. All right. Oh, might want to use the right password, or I can blank the password, but that'll take too long. But we learned how to blank passwords a few sessions ago. So PowerShell. Look at that. ISE is still in here. Like I said, it's not actively supported anymore. Um, so anyway, so it's going to pull up PowerShell. I just want to get the computer name. And I believe it should be a quick command host name. Should give me the computer name for this. hmm All right. Megan, what's your luck like so far? Everything running as expected? Give me a sip of water. All right. Wow, this thing really does not like my virtual box though. It takes forever to load. Here we go. All right, we're gonna pull up the host name. Should work. There we go. This is our host name. So this is how we reference the computer. So let's see what happens. All right, cool. Glad to hear it, Megan. All right, so now let's try doing this. Um, and I don't think we actually had to put computer name, but I like to type it out because it says that's what the parameter is. Computer name, bam. And then let's see what happens. And actually, I'm just going to do for that computer. Let's see what happens. Um, see if we get an error or something. I have a feeling this is not going to work. I have a feeling I have to provide some type of credential to do this. So I just want to see if it actually runs first, though. Ah. All right, so it looks like exactly. Okay, cannot open service control manager on computer. This operator might be required other privileges. So it seemed like we're on the right path, but it was not the right path. And in fact, this I think is going to come into where we use the um, CIM, the get-cim instance is going to allow us to do a little bit more activity remotely, right? Like I tell you, WMI was originally what Windows used for remote activities, for management of machines in a remote fashion, and now they use CIM instance instead. And we'll see how we can tie that together in a moment, okay? All right, so but at least we do have another computer to work with, right? So that computer is now one we can actually try to work with. All right, so let's flip back over to what we are going through. So now we have that run. Okay. Uh, in this part, he's just showing how to do a select, right? So basically, select object. As I said, everything we do is an object, and there is a command called select object. Now, star is a wildcard. That means you can substitute star for anything you can think of character-wise, whether it be a number, a letter, or a character, a period, whatever it is, star will represent that. That's why it's a wildcard, right? So at this point, that's why he says to Houston, we have a problem. He realized that we can't do logged on information. And we'll go ahead and run this same command on ours just so we have it. And be honest with you, I'm getting irritated by this little text pad up here. Reason why is because I'm so used to hitting the up arrow, but we should be able to do it from here. Nope, no. Okay. So I'm just gonna type it down here for right now because I don't want to continue to have to. And it's so interesting. I just found out that while doing this, that it passes the command down from above, but you can't hit the up key because I did not type it directly into the interface. So, what was the name of that service we pulled? What was that name? T something, T something. Token broker. I just like it. Makes me feel like some real cool stuff is in there if we get past security. So I'm gonna do token broker again. Let's go and do copy. I don't think that copied properly. I think I have to do the Unix way of copying. Control Shift C. Hmm. Yep. All right. So if you hit Control and then the Shift key and then C, it allow you to copy in terminal. And then Control Shift V as in Victor. So the first one is Control Shift C as in cat or C as in Charlie. The second one to paste is Control Shift V as in Victor will allow you to paste once you highlight and then you select where you want to put it. In this one, we're going to do select object. And remember, Windows is not case sensitive. So you don't have to type it exactly as you see it. Type it whatever is easiest for you. If you have the caps lock on, type. You have the caps lock off, type. But you don't have to do the whole shift back and forth. And that's the only thing I think is a real plus for Windows compared to Unix. In my world, one thing I hate most when working with Unix based systems like Linux or Mac OS is that you have to type it exactly as you see it. If you type it any other way, not going to work for you, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and enter from here. Bam. We got exact same results that he had on his tutorial as well, right? So we have these items are available, which we already knew, and then that's when we were able to select back, okay? Now, one thing I did notice is that selecting an item actually is a condensed list, right? You don't see start or stop. And so what that tells me is that these attributes for that object are actually meant to execute or be manipulated. And actually, we look at here, it says method. I just noticed it said method. Wow. A little slow here, but it's all right. And the difference here, properties. So properties of an object, you can select and pull back, right? And then methods are things you can execute against that object. Okay. And then you have the script method to string and stuff like that you can use on it. So that means when you're working with that object, you say whatever, like you have a number, which is normally not a string, it's an integer. And you can use the toString method within whatever you're doing the operation for and convert it into an actual string instead of an integer. All right, so there we go. We got this pulled up. Bam. So we're following along just fine. Everything's working. Everything's working. We have not gotten into remote stuff yet, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. But we are using pipe. I want you to be proud of yourself. You got it piping. If you are piping this out, you're doing some really cool stuff. And piping works for any of the terminals that you'll come across, whether you Mac or Linux or Windows. You can pipe stuff all the time. Okay. So that means don't worry about running one command and then having to copy and paste that output and running the next command. No, combine them together as a one-liner, right? One-liner, and just do command, pipe, next command. Okay, so I'm proud of you for that. Make sure you're proud of yourself on that one because that's pretty cool to know how to use piping. A lot of people don't know what it is. All right, so now this is where we were talking, what I was talking about. We're going to get into the CIM instance, okay? So what you'll notice here is that this one actually he's using a few other things. It's going to pull very similarly in a similar fashion what we did previously, right? So instead of using get service, because we're using the CIM instance, we have to form it a different way. So we're going to tell it to use a commandlet CIM instance. Within that, we still want to look for a service, and then we're going to tell it, we're going to filter out all the services that you see and give it a specific name, which for us is going to be token broker. For him, it was layman server. And then we're going to do the select object, right? Because we're piping it. It doesn't matter what came before the pipe as long as that part before the pipe has an output, right? That can be put elsewhere. So it looks like there's a lot more stuff here, but hey, let's go and see what happens though. So, and I think it's a good point to bring up here. What we did do, I'm gonna type it up here. I don't want to, but I'm gonna do it anyway. CIM instance. There we go. About to say, please work. The auto feature was messing up for me as well for a second. So we're gonna do class as he said, as is in the tutorial there, and then this one it should auto populate Win32. Nope, it does not, but we know it's Win32 service, which we can always Google if it doesn't work for us. So I'm gonna go over here and so Win32 underscore service, okay? Not dash. The Win32 underscore service is what we're doing. Let's flip back over to our Windows 10, change the dash to underscore. And then what comes after that? Filter. So we got to filter it out. So now we're going to filter. Now, what happens if we don't filter? Let's just go and run this. You know me, I like to try things out. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna copy and paste from now on. I'm gonna leave it up there because I'm gonna treat it like we're writing a script from now on. I'm gonna save it at the very top, but I'm gonna run it at the very bottom. Right? It's not gonna mess up anything. I promise you. You can always do this way. So I just copied and pasted. Hit enter. Let's see what happens. It should give us the same stuff we had. Ooh, it gives us a lot more stuff. Let's stop. Let's stop right here. I like this. I like this. Um, what do we get? What do we get? I shot right past. Okay, check this out. Check this out. We have process ID. I love it. We learned about processes. So this goes a step beyond get service and you kind of expect it to. Like I said, it's a very powerful command, a very, very powerful tool within the PowerShell arsenal is to be able to run. Used to be WMI, but now CIM. But yeah, so now we have the process ID. We can identify here. We have the name, the start mode. So that's what we saw before, whether it be started, stopped. I'm sorry, that's the mode. The state is what we saw before. We didn't even have the mode before. So this is literally the pretty much the exact same output we have in the GUI, but now we're looking at it through our CLI, right? Which I love it. I love this. Exit code, I gotta look up what that is, but let's do one other thing. So we did that command. I'm gonna hit the up arrow. Now, if you remember, up arrow is how you recall your last command typed into PowerShell. Hit up, and it will bring back the last one you typed. Okay. Now, uh, I'm going to pipe this into not more, but get member. Why am I doing get member? Because I want to see what properties, attributes I can actually work with, right? Man, look at this. This is a lot of stuff happening, right? Look at all the properties. Remember, properties are things we can request with a select object, okay? So we can do all that, okay? That's a name, and that's for Windows Terminal Services, okay? So it looks like status, okay, and name. I want to say display name. That's the service itself. And there has to be one in here for who started it. I think that's what he shows. Start name, maybe? Let's see. Let's flip back over to this. Yep, it was start name. So start name is what he realized was available. So the name of the service is up here, number one. Start name is who's responsible for starting. So even if we're looking for like log in as or run as, that wasn't going to give us what we were actually at the end of the day what we needed. So this is the importance of walking through the available commandlets you have and really digging into what their properties are, what their attributes are you can use and retrieve from them. So I didn't write exactly what he wrote before because I wanted to explore a little bit more with you. But now let's flip back over and write the rest of the command the way he has it. So we'll use the filter, which is going to filter out a specific name of the service, and then we'll do a select star. Um, so yeah, all right. So let's go and do that real quick. So I'm gonna finish on this line. We do filter. Oh, look at that. Comes right up as an option. And we're going to filter the name. And if you remember, double parentheses, double quotations, actually allow for substitution, right? So you use that inside of it. And then I'm going to do token broker, I think was what it was called, single quotes. And now what do? We do the piping and we do select dash object star. This is what we originally had, then he changed it to select after. And I'll keep typing the parentheses for some reason. Okay, so supposedly this is going to work for us. So let's copy and paste this. And let's put it down here. Paste it in. Control Shift V as in Victor. That's how you paste it, okay? Um, anything else? If you hit Control C, or I mean Control V, it's not going to do anything. All right, so I hit enter. Bam, that worked. Now I want to try it out. Let's try it. We do just select. So we don't do select object. Let's see if there's a difference. Okay. So we did just select. Looks like it ends on CIM system properties. And this one actually ended on PS status. There is a clear difference. Wow. All right. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I went up too far. Never mind. Take that back. It's the same thing. All right, good. It's the same thing. And look, we have the same situation here. This is running as local system, and that is for token broker. Okay. Now Windows has a number of number of service accounts that are used to run their services. And you guys Google the list of them. But the known service accounts are things you normally don't want to be concerned about. So what you'll see next is what do we do when when we get to this point, right? Because now we have a listing. He he's pointing out what he's found in it. So now we're going to build a query, as he said, that's going to bring everything together. Now, before we do that, he wants to show the filtering the start name. So start name, like I said, local system is a known one. Also, anything with NT authority, and that's what the percent sign is. Anything that falls beyond authority is kind of like a wild card for this case, because we're using a like statement. Whenever you use like, the wild card is not an asterisk. The wild card is actual percent sign. Okay, and that's when you're doing a like condition. Okay. So basically, read through basically what he's doing here. He's running the command as we've done so far. Instead of doing name of the service, he's doing name of the person who or entity that started the service, and he's excluding further anything that has the letters NT authority in that order. Okay, that's what this part is doing. So it's an exclusion statement. He said, bring back any and everything you can find for any service where the name is not local system for sure, or, I mean, and in addition to that, is not anything like this name. That's what we're doing here. And then he wants to structure this a certain way. You don't have to do select object, but basically what this does is he's specifying the return properties that he wants. So instead of that long list that we did before, we're actually going to just say, hey, we're just going to go ahead and return just the key items that I find most important. So that's what we're going to do here. And then start name. We're going to sort and put the start name. Uh, actually, yeah, sort object and then start name. So it actually should have been. I thought it would be up a little higher. So that's kind of interesting. But anyway, we'll see. Oh, if there's more than one name, it'll sort by the start name. So if you have more than one entry, it'll sort by the start name. All right, so let's see if there's anything running. And you see this start mode is manual, okay? And maybe we can do that as well. Let's go ahead and jump over into Windows 10. And we did a command earlier where we just listed all the services. Okay, get member. No, not to get member. I just want to list all services. We did right here. Okay. The reason why I'm doing this is I'm trying to identify a manual one, and I'm pretty sure what I can do is instead of doing name, which so name filtered on this. Maybe if I do start mode as a filter, and I do start mode equals manual. How about that? Let's try that and see if it gives me all the ones that are manual. Okay, so filter, double quotes, and that was, oh, I forgot just that fast. Wow. What is the name of this column? Start mode. Okay, filter, start mode equals manual. Okay, and let's see what happens now. Awesome. Okay, so now I see where we are filtering on start mode, and I don't want to see anything running. I want to see only the stopped. So now what I'm going to do is expand this filter. I'm going to do an and. Status, I believe is status. I want to say the not comes before, right? Yeah, and not. Okay, so because I know I don't want running. Uh, there might be other statuses, right? Well, I'll just do equal sign. I know I want stopped. So let's go with what I know I want, which is stopped. All right, there we go. Let's see what happens now. Oh, that's not good. Why did it not give me anything back? Status? State, not status. Ah, it's state. That's why. What state is it in? It's in a stop state. There we go. All right. So now I have all the ones that are stopped, and from here I can choose one potentially that I want to start if it gives me that option. So let's see, which one are we going to start? Which one seems more interesting? I want to say cam serve just stood out to me. So we'll try to start the cam serve. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't know if we finish the way his script is, if we're going to get any returns. So what I do want to do is take a step back and I want to walk through how do you start a service as another user. Okay, so to do that, I already have it pulled up for us. We're going to jump over to this other blog here. Okay, so this is how we start a service. It's going to walk us through. Okay, so this is the end goal. We want to use start process net dash arg start and then credential and get credential, right? So what I've noticed a couple of times is that whenever someone does credentials, they'll already have some credentials stored. So it's something they don't enter every time they run the command. So I wanted to make sure I did this properly, so I did went and looked up, well, how do you do that? So come to find out, if you do a which I'm glad I did because reading this particular blog, I realized that this is an additional argument that needs to be added for Windows 10 or newer based on what you stated here, or it won't work properly. Okay. So what we're going to do is real quick, we're going to learn how to store our credentials so that we can actually do administrative activity from the command line. Just take a side step real quick to do that. Now you don't have to use, we're going to copy and paste this, right? Now, of course, I'm not going to use this. not per se, but I'm going to paste it up here just for a moment. Let's just paste it in here, all right, so I don't forget it. And then I am going to try to do this. Now, you don't have to do exactly as it shows here. Now, also, one thing we have to know is what is our host name? Our host name on this machine is this. So this is our computer name. I'm going to paste this in here. Now, the top part, you don't have to do Control Shift V to paste. Remember, this is divided between terminal and text editor. Text editor, just regular Control C and V work. The terminal, Control Shift C, Control Shift V is what you do. All right, so username. I'm currently signed in as tester, which you can see down here in this prompt here. But hey, let's switch it up a little bit. Let's do tester2. And I think it's underscore 2. Oh, tester Bob is on this machine. Let me make sure. Get local users. Let's see. That'd be a good one to find. Get local accounts. Get local users. Let's try that out. Man, let's see what we get. Get local user. And it didn't auto populate. Oh, there we go. I hit tab and it did it. All right, cool. Yay. Tester Bob. Right there. Control Shift C. It's already up here, but I'm going to do it just because I already copied it. I'm going to paste it. All right, so now we have our user. We're going to try to do this as. So now the question is, I don't know what Bob's password is anymore. Just be honest with you, but I'm going to guess at it. If he even has a password, knowing him. All right, so now I can copy all of this, and then I can paste it down here. Paste. And of course, that didn't want to paste that way. So here, let me just do copy again. Copy, Control C. Please don't act like that. Paste. Yes. All right. Second time's a charm. All right. Now, me, I don't like just copying off the internet. That's plagiarism. We're going to do me. So this is me. No, this is them. I don't know who it is. This is them. Okay. So them. So it's not going to be me. It's going to be them. So basically, if I hit the enter key now, based on what we saw in the other blog, it's going to pop up with a login box. Let's try it out. Oh, they just asked for password. So let's try password 2. I have no idea if that worked or not. All right, cool. So now I stored it. Now if we do them, what does it say? Yay, it stored it. It knows it's a credential because I told it get credential. So it stored the password as a secure string. Now it's not visible, but we know their password is there. Okay. So this is how we do. So whenever you see $cred, if you're looking through and Googling and trying to figure out a PowerShell way of executing something, whenever you see $cred, we did $them, but this is basically how you create that particular variable. Okay. So give me a number 1 in the chat if you like this part. Now you know how to store a credential in PowerShell. I'm telling you, you're on your way to mastery. Okay. I'm on my way to mastery with you because I'm learning with you, right? Every time we do this, it's something for all of us to take away. So I'm glad you ever get something out of that. Um, so yeah, all right. So now what do we do here? Now we're going to try to start that service, and then we're going to check it. All right. So Cam, and I'm going to copy. Where's I need to save this stuff, right? I can't just sit up here and pick something and not like save it. Trusted install. Oh, that's even better. I want trusted installer. That sounds even cooler than Cam. That sounds cooler. I'm gonna do trusted installer. Yeah, let's do that one. You gotta trust me, right? You trust me, y'all, right? You trust me. All right. I'm gonna take you to the promised land and all this stuff, hopefully. If not, we're gonna have fun getting there. That's all that matters to me. We're gonna learn and learn how not to die on the first day. We want to make at least 3 days in, because I don't know if we're gonna find the water, but we're gonna last at least 3 days on this. All right, so we got it. So that's what I'm gonna go for is up here. So now I told you all I use Visual Studio Code like a notepad. I promise you I do this is what I do, right? But anyway, so man, we're getting there. I love this. It's coming together. So let's flip back over to our blog about how to execute a service. Okay, so we did this part, and now all we have to do is do this part. All right. So if you see this, this is going to be all right. In fact, I'm going to try this the way he has it written because I want to see PowerShell. That's what I want to see. And then we'll flip it over to what it's supposed to be after. So I'm going to paste this up here. All right. Now, okay, what do we have going on? So we have, first of all, we got to change this. I'm no longer using cred, right? I'm using them. So that's the first thing I change. So we're saying we're going to start process, and it actually be start service is not instead of a process, but we'll come around to that in a moment. Let's make sure that is an option. So start, definitely should be a service. You got to start job, start process. Yep, start service. Okay, so we're not going to do it right now though, because like I said, I want to run this one because I think it's going to be kind of cool. Let's do this. Copy this. And in fact, I'm going to do it without the argument because I want to know what problems we run into. Bam. See if it breaks. Man, he talking about it's a problem, right? And I think it might be. It started PowerShell, but I don't think it started as the right person. So suppose I'm supposed to be able to type the environment. So dollar sign, and I literally can't type in it. There's nothing. It's not doing anything. I'm typing. It's not doing anything. Okay. Let's see if we do it the way that they said to do it. So Control Shift V, bam. See what happens this time. Ooh, look at that. I got a little bit more to it. Even more choices. I don't want that one. Oh, I know why. I know why this happened. I know why this happened. So Tester Bob is not an admin, and I think is we're launching PowerShell, and he's not approved to do that. But let's see what happens if I do password for tester. Okay, now can I type environment? And what does it say use? Um, it did username, environment username. That's it. Environment username. All right. I mean, that's tester. Ah, that sucks, man. All right, so it didn't take the credentials the way I thought it would. All right, well, let's see what happens. That kind of bums me out. I gotta look about to do that a little later because it should have been tester Bob, but I think because Bob doesn't have rights to do PowerShell, it wasn't gonna work. Now let's fix that, right? Let's fix it. This is my machine. I do what I want to do. I don't know how to do it the right way. I do it the way I want to do it, right? So let's go over to users. Um, oh, let's do it through admin console. The admin tools, I mean, administrative tools. I'm gonna go and upgrade. Go to computer management. I'm gonna upgrade Tester Bob. I'm gonna give Tester Bob an upgrade. All right. I don't know what about you. I love saying Tester Bob. Tester Bob. Let's see. Member of. He's not there, so we're gonna add administrator. Check name. What? All right, well, do it. Yeah. Location, group. All right. The object names cannot be found. Is administrators the S? Let's try that one. There we go. Put an S. Put an S on it. Put an S on it. All right. So now I want to try this again. Tester Bob, let's do this. Tester Bob to the rescue. Let's see if Tester Bob worked. Bam. I'm gonna say yes. All right. Who am I? And it better be Tester Bob. Username. Ah, there we go, everyone. All right, yet another one. We found out what the problem was. Tester Bob was not allowed to run PowerShell in that format, so we had to fix that. Okay, so now this is going to be the complicated part, right? We're not executing. We're not executing a process though, right? We're not. We're executing a service. So does it work the same way? Bam. All right, let's see. Let's test it out. Let's see if it does. So I'm gonna take here, and I gotta move my cursor. And before I even go there, let's just go and change everything here, right? Bam, 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 bam. All right, we'll do trusted installer. It might not work anyway, but we're gonna hope it does. So we're gonna do start service. Oh man, we only got 9 minutes to daddy time. I'm about to go, but let's see how far we can get. We can always pick this up next time because I'm hoping everyone got something out of this. We don't have to finish the entire the entire agenda every session because like I said, we're here to learn, right? We're here to have fun with this and make sure whatever we do talk about, we're able to keep for ourselves. We experienced it. Let's see if this works. Okay, so let's double check. We got start service. Okay, we have trusted installer, which is the name of the service we're trying to start. We tell it to ask for to use credentials, and we're providing credentials them. And we're saying there's an argument list of no profile, which I have no idea what that means yet. I gotta look it up. The command, we're passing the exact same command in with the verb run as. The heck if I know what this action means. But we're going to try it first. We can always look into it in a moment, or I can look into it and put it in the write up, right? Oh, and it says, okay, parameter cannot be found, name credential. Okay, so now let's flip over to the other blog that was talking about how to start a service and figure out why. So let's start process once again. All right, well, it looks like specifically using PowerShell. Open PowerShell, elevated privileges, execute the following command to find a specific one. Okay, execute the following command to start the service you found in the above step. That makes no sense because we're getting the service display name. Are we storing it somewhere? Yeah, that didn't help me out at all. I need a better article than that. And this one, was this for start service as well? That's run PowerShell. Let me see. Start service from. And in fact, we're doing all this, and let's see if we can learn through PowerShell itself. So let's do help, right? I want us to be self-sufficient. So we're going to say, how does this start service work? So start service, do the display name string, pass through parameter, starter service, name. Can I do it to someone else though? All right. Well, we can try start service. It's saying start one or more stopped services, but it's not telling me I can do it. And I think the reason why is, let's see, um, how do we do credentials or how do we change? So let's see here, PowerShell start service run as different user. Okay, run in PowerShell and add a script file with as argument. That is the run in PowerShell. That's one we just looked at. All right, let's see what Microsoft has to say about it. So I want to start a service with a specific user account using PowerShell, but I don't see related parameters to start service commandlet. That's kind of what we ran into just now. Can you please provide more detail? Server SC will not work in PowerShell as it is an alias for a set content. Okay. All right. So run selected service names on a specified server computer. Okay. You know what? Let's just run it as us. Either way, it's gonna be different because I don't think this is gonna work, and it's gonna be a little bit more than I want to get into right now. Definitely something I can come back to. All right, so let's go and just start the server stuff. All right, that won't be hard at all. So we'll just do quit. Let's just run what we got. Start service, unless it gives us an error, but we're gonna do start service, and it says do the display name, which is gonna be the trusted installer. See what happens. All right. Cannot be started due to cannot open trust on computer. Okay, so it's saying that was not available. Let's go and find one more that is. Maybe a different one will work for us. So services right here stopped. Manual and let's just do. Let's try this one. All right. Like I said, all of this is just so that we can actually see a difference if we get the script to run. Um, let's just figure out why it's saying this, right? Open error. I'm pretty sure this has something to do with like dependencies, but let's find out. So I'm just gonna paste this into the browser. Depends. That's why to start because of this. So we have to get this one going first. Let's see if that has a dependency. So let's flip back over to our Visual Code, and that one should be in here. This one is stopped. And that's not working either. I feel like I'm gonna go through this for days to find one that actually will start up. What about messaging? At this point, I'm trying to find one that actually works. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go back to the blog. And let's start the one that he started. Which one did he start? Telephony, right? Tapser. All right, let's see if that works for us. Maybe. I'm hoping it does. So there we go. Okay, it might be a reason why he chose that. All right, so let's test this out. So now we're going to see which one. Actually, let's do this. Let's run the same command up here. Um, yeah, that should give us what we're looking for, right? So I'm gonna copy that, and we're gonna change into tappy serve, tappy serve, tapizer. I don't know how you want to say that. Let's see. Um, be R, no RV. Oh, that's my alarm for daddy time. But let's see. Start name, and that's network services. How do I get it to start as me? All right, so hey, we're going to end it here. I need to do some more research on how to start the service so that shows up as me as an ID. Uh, and yeah, we'll go from here. So I appreciate everyone joining today. Next week, we'll pick up where we left off, exploring the entirety of this very short not even script, but task that we're trying to explore when it comes to PowerShell. I hope you all are learning a lot about how to not only use PowerShell, but how to solve problems for yourself using the tools built in PowerShell, also Googling. But this is the life, right? This is, if you want to get into system administration, this is what you'll be doing. You have to learn how to be self-sufficient, resilient in what you're doing, resourceful. And yeah, that's what I'm hoping to teach you all as we go through this. And I'm literally doing it on the fly. So I hope everyone had a great time. And as always, trust the techno proof, right? And have a great night. And I'm off to daddy duties. Take care, y'all.